I made my students come here in order to get their test. I love them. I love them. It's really cool to follow all these really smart people and then have myself show up. I left my speech at home, but I did bring a nice talk on polonium. I don't think I'll do that, though. Let me get to the actual speech. Welcome to Tech. And as my barber says, Pete, that little old school in the desert with all those smart kids. I asked him one time, I said, he asked me, where do you work? I said, well, I'm retired from New Mexico Tech. And that's when he said, that little old school in the desert with all those smart kids, and I have used that so many times because it's true. Here I am. It's what I do, kids. You know that. I'm an old man. I pulled the old man card. My wife, Sherry, would have been here today, but she has heard me BS 6-7 times a day. And most of all, this is her last day at the oncologist. She is cured. Wow. We do science at this school. It's what we are. It's what we are. There's just nothing, no way else to say it. We do teach homeopathy, though. That's one of our majors. This is, I don't know how many tablets of Nux vomica. That is strychnine. Well, I had this troubling, God damn it. Science. From President Wells to the janitor Johnny and Kramer could have made a nicotine patch. All it took was a size 16 shoe, a cable, and a bottle with about 10,000 lethal doses of nicotine. You spill it down your arm, that's all you gotta do. You throw up for 8 hours, and during this horror, you say, wow, this would be a good way to get nicotine in somebody without smoking, chewing, or dipping. And it worked. Some of you, I hope, have some scholarship money as a result of that. I really, really do. Okay. That's all of them. Tic Tacs. I told my students if I die, you get an A. Still here. Let me chew this up first. It's like eating gravel. My career, I'm supposed to talk about my career. My first experience in psychopharmacology was smelling a bottle of Lysol. Man, it smelled good. So I took a sip of it. Went to my hillbilly grandmother and said, look, there's a skull and crossbones on this. She said, you're gonna die. She said, you're gonna die. She was Ma Kettle. Some of you young folks don't know who that is, but you need to see Ma Kettle. I learned a little bit of physiology, brain stuff, when I saw a chicken with its head off, after it'd been run around in circles. That really puzzled me. My same grandmother gave me a .22 rifle that had the little tiny buckshot in it. She said, if you don't kill yourself or shoot the hogs, you're going to have a lot of fun. I shot the hogs. High school career. I walked across the stage, opened my thing, there was nothing in there. I had flunked 2 courses, I will not tell you what they were. I had to go to summer school to get out of high school. I've been kicked out of more colleges than I have graduated from. It turns out colleges don't like for students to get a large boulder and carry it up the stairs in a home and roll it down the stairs. We thought it would stop. It went through the wall. My housemate received the phone call from the dean. The dean said, I want you two in my office at 11 o'clock. And my roommate says, sir, we don't make appointments until after 1. He said, pack your stuff. He didn't use that word either. One college in South Florida, Broward Junior College, we had caught an 8-foot hammerhead shark down in the Keys. Put it in the back of my 57 Chevrolet. Drove it to Broward Junior College. We thought it was dead. We thought surely it was dead. Put it in the lake at the college. Johnny, don't laugh, man. And we thought that thing was dead. Got to school the next morning. The whole school was circling the little lake around the college. And here was the hammerhead in the brackish water. And Girardi said, we did that. We heard the same thing. Pack your stuff real quick. You got to respect a school that gives you an honorary doctorate after they've kicked you out twice. That's fact. That's a fact. I'm sorry. Oh, I left my speech at home, so I'm having to use this, but I do have a good talk on polonium if you want to hear that. My mom, actually my dad wanted me to go into business. I took an economics course. I couldn't figure out the variables. I didn't know what was going on with economics, and I still don't. Accounting? Oh, don't dare let me be your CPA. My mom said, try something else. So I got married. When all else fails, get married. My future looked so bright, I had to wear shades. Took a night class at UT Nashville. And man, it taught me to never give up on a student, which I will never do. He was a neurologist from Vanderbilt teaching intro psych in a physiological scientific way. And it blew me away. I didn't need professors after that. Just give me the books, give me the books, give me the books. And man, I enjoyed that. That was so much fun. I was hooked. I published as an undergraduate. I went to Peabody and Vanderbilt to play real research. I worked with everything from goldfish to bobwhite quail to Japanese quail, monkeys, rhesus monkeys. Oh, it was so fun. And one of the policies at Peabody and the Kennedy Center was treat your animals with respect because a hurt or sick animal doesn't behave. And I still hold to that. At Vanderbilt and Peabody, I was blessed with a publication in Nature. Walked into my office one day. I've been running this study out of my area. I do flavor aversion. That's what I've always done. My poor students have heard this enough. I give a rat a novel taste. I take it away. I wait 30 minutes, 2 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, and make that rat a little bit nauseous with lithium chloride, cyclophosphamide, an anti-cancer drug, rotational stimulation that involves an old 78 turntable, strap your rat to the turntable, vestibular stimulation, and nausea. That's what I did for a living. I made rats sick. Don't be doing that, Heidi. I finished there, the Kennedy Center. I thoroughly enjoyed it because we had so much fabulous equipment and so many things to do. We would sit around. We had a British ethologist who actually was that paper, first instance of mammalian imprinting, and that was pretty cool. That went into Nature. But we would sit around and we would share ideas, say something, and then everybody would critique it in a nice manner. We were trying to help each other become better humans, become better scientists, and I think it worked pretty well. I had offers at the Oregon Research Institute, Cal Poly, and the Monell Chemical Synthesis Center. But a friend of mine had traveled extensively in the Southwest, and he said, "You're crazy enough to fit in out there." And man, oh man, I'd never been west of the Mississippi. I'm a hillbilly. Never been west of Mississippi. I came out here, and the culture shock was incredible. Gilbert Sanchez, who was in our biology department at the time, called me up one day, and he said, "Frank, you are butchering Latino names." Oh, and I still do it. I still do it, don't I? Yeah, still do it. These are all my students in here. I love them. I still do. I'm terrible. It all comes out hillbilly. 4 years of French, comme parlez-vous. Tech, the ones I know. Craig Taylor at the Large Hadron Collider, Los Alamos. Your dad's program in technical communication, Steve Blodgett. He was a writer at Los Alamos. Kitt Peak National Observatory, Dyer Lytle. The VLA and the VLBA, we got so many out there, it's not even funny. One at Woods Hole. Sandia Lab in Los Alamos, that's a gimme. They come down here and trap our students. They steal them. Loveless Inhalation Toxicology Center. My only graduate student who worked on the nicotine project was the head. He was the head of that fabulous research center. We put out excellent, and I mean excellent, award-winning teachers. Alan Martini comes to mind. He also spread the rumor that I had dropped dead on the racquetball court. Dr. Latman showed up at my house to see if I was still alive. I don't know if he was hoping I was alive or hoping I was dead. Researchers, PhDs, and MDs. We had a 70% acceptance rate in medical school while I was here. Folks, that ain't bad. That ain't bad from that little old school in the middle of the desert with all those smart kids. We have them at Intel. This row of humans over here is just incredible. Look at Brian down there. That's one smart human. He's genius. Bill's a genius. They're all geniuses. And then there's me. I'm a one-trick pony. You trip over a cable, anybody can trip over a cable. Anybody can pour nicotine down the arm. But I bet you got sense enough not to try it 2 or 3 times. DMSO over in the neck. 3 microliters of nicotine was pulled up in a micropipette. And a student of mine, Linda Hagan from down in the Boot Hill of New Mexico, Rodeo, New Mexico. Oh, she's a physician in France now. Linda said, "Frank, you don't smoke. We need to push 2 of those microliters out." And good, she did. Put the 1 microliter on. Within about a minute and a half, I was throwing up at 361 degrees. It was a great diet. I lost a good deal of weight that day. What did I do? I replicated it to make sure. Brought my brother out from Kentucky. He was a smoker. Laid him up on the dining room table and put a drop of nicotine on him. He was expendable. He said it felt just like I'd smoked a cigarette. And I said, "Bazinga." No, I didn't back then, did I? That word wasn't invented. What else should I talk about? Oh, I give Scooter, my buddy, credit for eating the Nux vomica, strychnine. Am I going? Do you think I'm going to die? All my students are saying, my God, I hope he dies, hope he dies. Everybody gets an A, everybody gets an A. We've got engineers. We got one here, one now, who is at Caterpillar, senior software architect at Honeywell, Ed Fries, Mr. Xbox, folks. I was watching a TV show about entrepreneurs one day, and I saw this big table. All these heavyweights sitting at that table, Bill Gates at the end, and sitting right here was Ed Fries. That blew me away because he got my kids on mainframes when they were 6 and 7 years old here at Tech. And I respect him. I love him for that. He made my kids learn some stuff. In fact, I think they came out pretty easily. We have mathematicians all over this country. My daughter's a mathematician. She's also a search engine optimizer, one of the best in the Southwest. She didn't get those skills from me. She got them from Sherry. I would have never gotten through this school, folks. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. If they had a program in janitorial engineering, maybe I would have made it. We've got people at NASA. Dean Hines, he has MS. And I have a friend in Wyoming whose child suffers from MS. And I wrote Dean. I said, Dean, would you give this young man a little uplift? Folks, he blew that child away. He made that child feel worthy, smart, and capable. And that's respect in my book. That's a good human in my book. Pharmacist, Dee Sanders, she worked in my lab. The JPL, we've got people there. We got petroleum engineers, duh. We have one of the best directional drillers in the world, came from tech. And I had to throw him out of school when I was dean. Oh, the stories I could tell you about deaning. Oh, man, going to work, you never knew what you was going to step into, the minefield you were going to step into. It was really funny the way I operated. Dr. Lattman's office steps came right down in front of my office. And when he could see into my room and there was a student in there, I'd be in the regular, but I'd shut the door. We'd both throw our feet up on the desk and tell jokes. Then I'd say, what's your major? What's your GPA? What the hell did you do to get sent to me? And don't do it again. And that worked. We have a North Slope geophysicist who's been staying with us for the past 2 weeks. I could choke him. On the North Slope, I didn't get on the rigs. I told them where to drill. I told them where to drill. We have computer scientists, real brains. The Langmuir lab director, my racquetball buddy. So is Jim Corey. We have entrepreneurs. We have tons of patents from techies. Every paper I published at Tech had an undergraduate student's name on it. Why? They knew the study as well as I did. And that made me mighty proud of my kids. They're my kids. You're my kids. I may give you a bad grade, but you're my kids. Any questions before I say live long and prosper, techies? How's my time going? 2 minutes. Okay. My hillbilly grandmother. You don't mess with the hen house. You don't get into the smokehouse and steal hams. If she ever heard the dogs bark, she went out on the front porch and unloaded her .32 revolver. That's the way we work in Kentucky. One day a man came over and said, Miss Brookie, I can't find my dog. Have you seen him? She helped him all day hunt for that dog. You know the answer, don't you, Annika? He was the egg-sucking dog, and my grandmother caught him. And she shot that dog. And she buried that dog behind her house. But she helped that man hunt for that dog all day long. I about run out of time. Any questions? Why did I make my students come in here? Because I torture them. I love them. I like students. Why did I leave Tech? I was burned out, folks. I was teaching 3 classes back to back. I was turned the half-time dean job into a full-time job on my own initiative. And I played racquetball, had to do that. And what else was I doing? I was doing some other stuff. Oh, working on a little patch. That's why I left Tech. That's the only reason. I was worn out. And because someone asked me, that's all it took. Because I love this place. I love my students, and I hope it shows. Scooter's iffy. I really like students, and I love this school because of the people it turns out, and it is always turned out. And I'm so proud of all my techies, all of this whole school. I'm a cheerleader for science. I'm not the smartest apple in the basket for sure. That's for sure. My grades reflected that. Oh, my first year at Western Kentucky, it wouldn't print out. It would not print out. I flunked ROTC. I flunked freshman assembly. Freshman assembly, all you had to do was be there. In ROTC, when we had a big inspection from Fort Knox, I didn't know we were supposed to clean our weapons. So when I handed it over, you military guys know, when I handed it over to this guy, he pulls the bolt back, and when he releases it, it goes, I flunked ROTC. That very minute. Live long and prosper, my friends. Every one of you. Do you have any questions? Great. I got another one. I'll eat back there too. I rail against quackery. I hate to see people get ripped off from quack medicine. The vibe machine. Have you ever seen one? Most beautiful piece of furniture I've ever seen. I called the inventor, quote unquote inventor, and I said, you know, this is a bunch of, I almost said like I talk in my class, a bunch of BS. And he said, I'll sue you. I said, go ahead. I got science to back me up, because what you're selling is crap. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. Hard ranch work in Wyoming. Very hard ranch work. These scars, that was it, yeah. That was really it. I had nothing against anybody. I was just tired, folks. And I'm an old man now. I pull the age card every chance I get on my students. I have a student that sits one of my smart students. Your job is to tell me what I was talking about. The age card. Any other questions? Thank you all so much. Thank you.